Did you know that Myanmar once held the largest gold treasure in Southeast Asia? But now it's a secret few could imagine? Myanmar in 2025. Is it safe to set foot in a land where temples gleam brighter than the sun itself? Or are you ready to uncover a place where stepping through the door lands you among thousands of ancient temples in Bagan? So many that you'll wonder, how did they build an entire kingdom out of thin air like this? Welcome to Globetrotteria, where wanderers like us don't just travel to see, but to live every moment to the fullest. Myanmar isn't your average destination. It's a living story, where warm locals invite you for tea by Inle Lake, where the chimes of Mandalay's pagodas echo like a song from time itself. And believe it or not, 2025 might just be the golden moment to soak in all this uniqueness without elbowing through crowds. Let's dive in right now and find out why this Southeast Asian gem is calling your name. Why should Myanmar top your 2025 travel list? Simple, it's a destination that feels like a secret whispered just to you. With tourism still rebounding, you'll roam its wonders without elbowing through selfie stick hordes. It's a VIP pass to a place where nature and culture collide in ways you won't find anywhere else in Asia. Imagine drifting above Bagan's timeless temples in a hot air balloon, the northern breeze carrying you over a sea of ancient spires, or kicking back on the untouched sands of Saung beach, the southern sun warming your toes as waves crash gently nearby. Myanmar's diversity is its magic: rugged mountains in the north, pristine islands in the south, and a cultural mosaic that shifts with every region. I once met a monk named Irrawaddy near Mandalay who told me, "This land holds stories in every stone and smile." He wasn't wrong. From the Shan Hills to the Andaman Sea, Myanmar's heritage is a patchwork of traditions: Burman, Karen, Chin, Kachin, and more, each adding its own flavor to the mix. It's not just a trip, it's a chance to connect with a place that's raw, unpolished, and brimming with heart. So why 2025? Because right now, Myanmar offers solitude, authenticity, and a front row seat to its unfolding story. Is it safe to travel to Myanmar in 2025? A clear and honest look. Safety is always the first question on any traveler's mind, isn't it? Let's cut to the chase. Myanmar remains a welcoming and secure destination for visitors in 2025. The country's top attractions: Yangon's shimmering pagodas, Bagan's ancient temple plains, Mandalay's royal heritage, Inle Lake's tranquil waters, and the awe-inspiring Golden Rock, are all nestled in stable, tourist-friendly zones, far removed from any concerns. Coastal havens like Ngwe and Ngwe beckon with their pristine beaches, offering sun-soaked escapes without a hint of worry. I've roamed these places myself, and the atmosphere is nothing short of heartwarming. Think smiling vendors and bustling markets, monks gliding silently through temple courtyards, and a serene calm that feels like a rare gift in today's world. But let's tackle the bigger picture head-on, because you deserve the full story. Myanmar has faced challenges since the 2021 military coup, with political tensions simmering in remote northern regions like Kachin and Saung, near the borders with China and India. These conflicts, however, are highly localized, think distant corners of the country, hundreds of miles from the tourist trail. They're not comparable to the intense war zones you might imagine, like those in Ukraine or Israel. Instead, picture Myanmar as a vast, friendly landscape with a few isolated rough spots. By sticking to well-traveled routes and staying aware of your surroundings, you'll find the journey smooth and rewarding. The locals I've met, like a tea shop owner named Mong in Yangon who handed me a steaming cup with a grin, embody this warmth. "You're safe here," he said, "just enjoy our home." Now, you might have heard about the recent earthquake that struck Myanmar in early 2025, and it's worth addressing. On January 15th, 2025, a 5.8 magnitude quake hit near the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, with tremors felt in parts of southern Myanmar, including the Andaman Sea coast and areas like Dawei. Thankfully, no major damage or casualties were reported in tourist areas, and key destinations like Yangon, Bagan, Mandalay, and Inle Lake were unaffected. I spoke with a hotel manager named Ngwe Saung shortly after, who shrugged it off with a smile. The earth shakes sometimes, but we're used to it. Our beaches are still perfect. Myanmar sits in a seismically active region, so minor tremors aren't uncommon, but the country's infrastructure in tourist hubs is built to handle them. For travelers, this means checking local updates before heading to southern coastal spots like Dawei or the Ngwe archipelago. But it's no reason to skip the adventure altogether. Most areas bounced back quickly, with resorts and transport running as usual. For those itching to explore beyond the classics, Myanmar's got plenty of safe, off-the-beaten-path gems in 2025. Consider Mrakyu, where ancient ruins rival Bagans but feel like your own private discovery. I wandered its crumbling temples with a guide named Zaw, who pointed out a stone carving he swore looked like his uncle. History's alive here, he chuckled. Or head to Dawei's sleepy beaches, where I shared grilled fish with a fisherman named Tun under a palm tree. His stories of monsoon storms as captivating as the sunset. Manawa's quirky giant Buddhas are a delight. Think a 400-foot reclining statue that had me snapping photos like a kid. Hakaku's riverside charm, Pindaya's cave shrines stuffed with golden Buddhas, and Putau's Himalayan foothills are all stable bets too. I hiked to Pindaya once with a local named Ko Tin, who led me to a hidden cave where he'd played hide-and-seek as a boy. The bats terrified me then, he laughed, shining his flashlight on the stalactites. But now they're like old friends. Of course, a bit of planning goes a long way. Before you go, glance at travel advisories from sources like the US State Department or the UK Foreign Office. They'll flag any no-go zones, which are typically far from tourist routes. I learned this the easy way when a guide in Mandalay, a cheerful woman named EI, handed me a map and circled the safe spots. Stick here, and you'll only worry about eating too much mohinga. Pair that with common sense. Avoid political discussions, steer clear of protests, and keep your hotel's contact handy, and you're set for a trip that's as secure as it is unforgettable. The earthquake added a brief ripple, but it hasn't dimmed Myanmar's shine. It's just a reminder to stay informed, especially for coastal plans. With these precautions, you'll find Myanmar in 2025 to be a land of open hearts and open roads, ready to welcome you with stories and smiles. Unmissable Myanmar experiences in 2025. Myanmar in 2025 is a playground of experiences, each one a brushstroke on a vibrant canvas. Here's your hit list of must-dos, packed with stories to spark your wanderlust. Beach Bliss at Ngwe Saung, Myanmar's coastal crown jewel in 2025. Move over Ngapali. Ngwe Saung Beach is claiming the throne as Myanmar's ultimate seaside escape in 2025, and trust me, it's a title well-earned. While Ngapali's flights have become a logistical puzzle, harder to pin down with erratic schedules, Ngwe Saung has quietly risen as the go-to coastal haven, rolling out the red carpet with upgraded accommodations and amenities that make it stand out. Picture this: miles of powdery white sand stretching lazily along the Bay of Bengal, fringed by swaying palms that rustle in the warm sea breeze, and turquoise waves lapping gently at the shore. It's the kind of place where time slows down, where the chaos of temple hopping and city bustle melts away, leaving you with nothing but the rhythm of the tide and the promise of pure, unadulterated relaxation. I found myself there one late afternoon, the sun dipping low and painting the sky in a riot of pink, orange, and gold. A sunset so vivid it felt like the heavens were showing off just for me. As I kicked off my sandals and let the soft, warm sand squish between my toes, a local kid named Saung, no older than 12, bounded over with a weathered surfboard tucked under his arm. "You try?" he asked, his grin wide and mischievous. I couldn't resist. He handed me the board, its edges chipped from countless rides, and gave me a crash course right there on the shore, how to balance, paddle, and, most importantly, laugh when you inevitably tumble. "Fall a lot, laugh more," he said, his eyes sparkling as I wobbled into the shallows and promptly wiped out, salt water stinging my nose. But then came the magic. I caught a small wave, the board gliding beneath me as the sea carried me forward, on whooping from the beach like I just won a championship. That moment, crashing, laughing, and finally riding the swell, captured Ngwe Saung's spirit, carefree, welcoming, and utterly alive. What sets Ngwe Saung apart isn't just its natural beauty, though that alone could steal your breath. The water's warm and inviting, a crystalline blue-green that shifts with the light, tempting you to wade in up to your knees or dive straight into its embrace. Unlike Ngwe, where crowds once flocked and flight woes now deter, Ngwe Saung feels like a secret you've stumbled upon. The beach stretches for nearly 9 miles, a generous expanse that means you can stroll for hours and still find a quiet patch to call your own. I wandered it one morning, the dawn air cool and salty, and watched fishermen haul in their nets, silver fish glinting like coins in the early light. One of them, a wiry man named Zaw, waved me over and offered a taste of his catch, grilled right there over a driftwood fire, the flesh tender and smoky, paired with a squeeze of lime he plucked from a nearby tree. "This is home," he said, gesturing to the sea, "and you're welcome in it." In 2025, Ngwe Saung's charm is amplified by its glow-up, where once you'd find only basic goose houses, now there are boutique resorts with bamboo bungalows perched just steps from the waves. Their verandas perfect for sipping a cold coconut or watching the stars emerge. Restaurants have sprung up too, serving everything from spicy Burmese curries to fresh seafood platters piled high with prawns and crab, their shells glistening with garlic and chili. I sat at one such spot, a rickety wooden table sinking slightly into the sand, and devoured a plate of grilled squid while a guitarist strummed a soft tune nearby. Nothing fancy, just the kind of simplicity that feels luxurious in its ease. The vibe here is laid back, but polished, a step up from the rugged charm of years past, making it ideal for unwinding after the dusty trails of Bagan or the bustling streets of Yangon. Ngwe Saung isn't just a beach, it's a playground. Beyond surfing, you can kayak through the gentle swells, the paddle slicing through water so clear you can spot fish darting below. I rented a kayak one afternoon and paddled out to Lover's Island, a tiny speck of sand and rock just offshore, where legend says couples once carved their names into the cliffs. The view back to the mainland was stunning. Ngwe Saung's coastline curving gracefully, framed by distant hills cloaked in green. For the less adventurous, there's beachcombing, shells and sea glass litter the shore, treasures left by the tide, or simply lounging with a book as the waves provide a soothing soundtrack. I met a woman named Ei, a vendor selling woven hats, who plopped down beside me with a laugh. "You look happy," she said, handing me a mango she'd sliced with a pocket knife. This place does that. After days of temple treks or market meanders, Ngwe Saung is the perfect reset. It's not loud or crowded. It's intimate, a stretch of paradise where the loudest sound might be a fisherman's call or the rustle of palm fronds overhead. That sunset with Saung stayed with me, the sky ablaze, the water lapping at my board, and his infectious joy turning a simple wipeout into a memory I'll carry forever. In 2025, Ngwe Saung isn't just stealing the spotlight from Nepali, it's rewriting the script for what a beach escape can be. Raw, real, and radiantly serene. Whether you're chasing waves, savoring seafood, or just letting the sand work its magic, This is where you'll find Bliss on Myanmar's coast. Bagan's UNESCO Enchantment, a journey through time in 2025. Step into Bagan, and you're not just crossing a plane. You're slipping through a portal to a bygone era, where every crumbling spire and sunlit stupa whispers secrets of a lost kingdom. In 2025, this UNESCO World Heritage marvel is set to shine as Myanmar's brightest star, a timeless expanse where over 2,000 ancient temples stretch across the horizon like sentinels of history. It's not a landscape. It's a living tapestry, woven from the dreams of 11th century kings and the dust of centuries, glowing with an otherworldly beauty that catches your breath and refuses to let go. Imagine standing there as dawn breaks, the first rays igniting the brick and sandstone in a blaze of gold and amber, the air thick with the faint chime of temple bells carried on the breeze. A scene so surreal, it feels like the earth itself is waking up to greet you. I found myself in Bagan one hazy morning, the sky still streaked with the soft purples of night, when I met Myint, a local artist perched on a weathered stone, his sketch pad alive with the curves of a nearby stupa. His pencil danced across the page as he told me about his father, a mason who'd toiled under the sun decades ago to rebuild a temple toppled by an earthquake in 1975. "These aren't just bricks to us," he said, his voice low and reverent, eyes tracing the silhouette he'd drawn. "They're our history, our heartbeat. Every crack tells a story of who we were." He pointed to a jagged scar on the stupa's base, a relic of that quake, and I could almost see his father there, hands calloused and steady, piecing together a legacy for generations to marvel at. Myint's words stuck with me, turning each temple into more than a monument. They became chapters in a saga I was now part of. Bagan in 2025 isn't just a place to see, it's a place to feel. Grab a rickety bike and pedal through the dusty paths, the wind tugging at your shirt as you weave between pagodas cloaked in morning mist. I did just that one afternoon, my tires crunching over gravel, stopping to climb a temple's worn steps for a view that stretched to the Irrawaddy River, a silver ribbon glinting in the distance. Or chase the sunset, when the sky erupts in a symphony of crimson and violet, bathing the spires in a glow that makes them look like they're lit from within. I sat atop one such perch as the sun dipped low, a stray dog napping nearby, and watched shadows stretch across the plain like fingers reaching for eternity, pure, haunting magic. For the ultimate thrill, take to the skies in a hot air balloon, a 2025 must-do that elevates Bagan's splendor to dizzying heights. I'll never forget my own ride, the basket creaking as we lifted off at dawn, the ground falling away to reveal a sea of temples piercing the mist, their tips catching the light like 1,000 tiny flames. The silence up there was profound, broken only by the occasional whoosh of the burner and the gasps of fellow passengers as we drifted over this ancient wonderland. From above, Bagan unfurls like a map of dreams, endless, intricate, and alive with the ghosts of a golden age. It's the kind of moment that lingers, a vision that haunts your sleep in the best possible way, urging you to return before you've even left. This isn't just a destination. It's a pilgrimage to a place where time bends and history hums. In 2025, Bagan stands ready to steal Myanmar's spotlight. Its UNESCO status a badge of honor for a land that's weathered empires, quakes, and the march of years. Whether you're sketching with Myint, biking through its secrets, or floating above its majesty, Bagan promises a spectacle that sears itself into your soul, a timeless dance of light, stone, and story that you'll carry long after the dust settles on your shoes. Mount Popa's mystical heights, a spiritual odyssey above the plains, rising like a solitary volcanic guardian between the serene waters of Inle Lake and the the temple-strewn plains of Bagan. Mount Popa is more than a mountain. It's a sacred beacon that calls to the soul. In 2025, this jagged peak stands as one of Myanmar's holiest pilgrimage sites. Its summit crowned by a dazzling, gilded monastery that glints like a star against the rugged rock. At 1,518 meters, it towers over the central plains, a natural fortress steeped in legend and reverence, where the air hums with the whispers of ancient spirits and the promise of breathtaking vistas. This isn't just a detour on your journey. It's a climb into the heart of Myanmar's mystical heritage, a place where every step feels like a communion with something greater. I arrived at its base one crisp morning, the sun just beginning to warm the earth, and found myself drawn to the 777 steps that win their way to the top, a staircase both daunting and inviting, flanked by vibrant shrines and chattering monkeys who rule this domain like impish sentinels. There, at the foot of the ascent, I met a weathered vendor with a smile as bright as the coconuts she sold from a rickety stall. She pressed a cool, green husk into my hands, slicing it open with a deft flick of her machete, the sweet water spilling out like a gift from the mountain itself. "The spirits are watching us," she said with a playful wink, nodding toward the colorful Nash shrines dotting the slopes below, sacred alcoves dedicated to Myanmar's mythical guardians, the 37 Nats, whose tales of heroism and mischief weave through the country's folklore. "They like visitors who climb with respect," she added, her eyes glinting with a mix of mischief and wisdom, as if she'd struck a pact with these unseen watchers long ago. The climb was no small feat. 777 steps sound poetic until your legs start to burn and the monkeys dart past, snatching at crumbs left by pilgrims. But with iced coconut water fueling me and her words echoing in my mind, I pressed on, the path alive with the scent of incense and the murmur of prayers from devotees in saffron robes. Halfway up, I paused at a tiny shrine where a candle flickered before a statue of the Gaiman, the king of the Nats, his serene face carved from wood darkened by time. A monk tending the flame caught my eye and smiled. "He guards the good ones," he said softly, as if sharing a secret, and I felt a shiver, not of fear, but of wonder at the layers of belief woven into this place. Reaching the summit was like stepping into a dream. The monastery perched there, its golden roof ablaze under the midday sun, seemed to float above the world, a sanctuary suspended between earth and sky. I leaned against a railing, catching my breath, and let my gaze sweep over the reward. An endless expanse of emerald plains unfurling beneath a boundless, cloud-streaked sky, the Irrawaddy River a distant shimmer threading through the haze. It was a view that stretched beyond sight into the realm of feeling, a panorama so vast it hushed the mind and stirred the spirit. I could see why pilgrims flock here, why they've climbed these steps for centuries, leaving offerings of flowers and whispered hopes to the Nats and the Buddhas alike. Mount Popa's magic isn't just in its height or its history. It's in the stories that cling to its slopes like morning mist. I had told me of the Nats' origins, spirits of warriors, lovers, and rebels who met untimely ends, now revered as protectors. "They dance in the wind," she said, and up there, with the breeze tugging at my hair and the plains sprawling below, I almost believed I could hear them. This isn't a climb for the faint-hearted, but it's worth every aching step, a pilgrimage not just to a peak, but to a place where Myanmar's soul shines through in gold, stone, and whispered legends. In 2025, Mount Popa beckons as a detour that's less a side trip and more a revelation, a chance to stand where spirits soar and the world falls away in quiet, breathtaking splendor. Inle Lake's Enchanted Waters, a living canvas of culture and calm. Tucked into the rolling hills of Shan State, Inle Lake isn't just a body of water. It's the beating, photogenic heart of a world unlike any other, where mountains cast their reflections on a glassy surface and life floats atop stilts in a delicate dance with nature. Spanning 116 square kilometers, this shimmering expanse is a mirror to the sky, framed by jagged peaks cloaked in mist its edges alive with villages that seem to hover above the waves. In 2025, Inle beckons as a sanctuary of serenity and tradition, a place where every ripple tells a story, and every glance reveals a scene so striking it could grace the cover of a travelogue. This isn't merely a lake, it's a vibrant, watery realm where culture and beauty intertwine in the most unexpected ways. I set out one dawn, the air cool and tinged with the earthy scent of the surrounding marshes, aboard a slender wooden boat piloted by Inle, a fisherman with hands toughened by years of rowing. His paddles sliced through the stillness, sending gentle waves lapping against the hull as he guided me into the heart of this floating universe. "This is our life," he said, his voice soft yet proud, gesturing to the stilted homes that rose from the water like sentinels of a forgotten time. We glided past patches of floating gardens, emerald plots of tomatoes, and beans tethered to the lakebed with bamboo, before docking at his family's home, a wooden platform swaying ever so slightly with the current. There, he introduced me to his sister, T, who sat at a silk-weaving loom balanced precariously over the water, her fingers threading shimmering strands in a fabric that caught the light like liquid silver. "She's the real master," Inle grinned, watching her work with a rhythm as steady as the lake itself. I leaned closer, mesmerized by the clack of the loom and the way the silk seemed to glow, a testament to a craft passed down through generations, born from lotus stems harvested right beneath our feet. Inle Lake is more than its stunning vistas. It's a crossroads of cultures, alive with the traditions of the hill tribes who call this region home. The Intha, masters of the lake, navigate its waters with their signature one-legged rowing technique, a sight so graceful it's like watching a ballet unfold against the backdrop of dawn. I'd seen it before in photos, but nothing prepared me for the real thing. Hitchin demonstrated it later, balancing on the stern with a paddle tucked under one leg, his boat cutting through the mist as if guided by magic. Then there are the Pao, their villages perched on the hillsides overlooking the lake, their women draped in black tunics and vibrant headscarves that blaze like fire against the green. I met a Pao elder named Da Sin one afternoon at a floating market, her stall brimming with handmade baskets and dried fish. She offered me a cup of bitter green tea and a smile, recounting how her grandmother taught her to weave as the lake lapped at their doorstep. "We live with the water," she said, "and it lives with us." Every corner of Inle hums with life and color. The lake's surface is a kaleidoscope, dotted with fishermen casting nets that flare out like gossamer wings, lotus flowers blooming in delicate pinks, and wooden canoes ferrying goods between villages. I drifted through it all with Inle, passing the golden spires of Phong Da Pagoda, where 5 Buddha statues gleam beneath layers of gold leaf applied by pilgrims over centuries. "They're too heavy to lift now," Inle chuckled, pointing to their shapeless, gilded forms, a symbol of devotion so deep it's reshaped them entirely. Nearby, stilted workshops buzzed with activity, silversmiths hammering delicate jewelry, cigar makers rolling cheroots with practiced ease, each craft a thread in the lake's rich tapestry. Inle Lake is lake life with a cultural twist, a place where the ordinary becomes extraordinary. The water mirrors the mountains at sunrise, turning the world upside down in a breathtaking illusion, while the air carries the faint hum of chants from distant monasteries. I lingered there as dusk fell, the sky streaking with purples and oranges, watching Inle row home with the same quiet grace he'd shown all day. It's a scene that etches itself into your memory, a watery wonderland where traditions float as effortlessly as the villages themselves, inviting you to paddle into a world that's as beautiful as it is timeless. In 2025, Inle Lake isn't just a destination. It's an embrace of Shan State soul, a place where every wave whispers tales of resilience, craft, and the vibrant hues of its people. Yangon's radiant pulse, a golden city alive with soul. Yangon isn't just a city. It's a living symphony of light, sound, and spirit, a place that hums with energy and shimmers with a golden glow that could rival the sun itself. In 2025, this sprawling urban tapestry stands as Myanmar's beating heart, a kaleidoscope of sacred splendor and earthly chaos woven together in a way that assaults your senses and steals your breath. At its pinnacle sits the Shwedagon Pagoda, a crown jewel so magnificent it feels like a gift from the heavens. Its towering stupa, plated in pure gold, encrusted with diamonds and rubies that catch the light like 1,000 tiny stars. This isn't just a monument. It's a pulsating hub of devotion, alive with the murmur of prayers, the flicker of candles, and the scent of jasmine offerings swirling through the air. Yangon sparkles, yes, but it's the kind of sparkle that seeps into your soul and lingers long after you've left. I stepped on a Shwedagon's marble plaza one evening, the stone cool beneath my bare feet, just as the sky softened into hues of lavender and gold. The pagoda loomed ahead, its 99-meter spire piercing the dusk, a beacon that's drawn pilgrims for over 2,500 years. There, amid the throng of worshippers in colorful longis, I met a slight woman with eyes creased by worry and hope. She handed me a slender candle, its wax dripping slightly as we lit it together at one of the shrine's countless altars, the flame dancing in the breeze. "I'm praying for my daughter's health," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the chants of monks echoing from the inner sanctum. "This place listens, it always has." Her words hung in the air as we watched the light flicker, a silent pact between us and the sacred space around us. Standing there, surrounded by the golden dome's radiance and the devotion of strangers turned kin, I felt the weight of centuries, as if Shwedagon itself were a living witness to every whispered wish and answered prayer. But Yangon's magic doesn't end at the pagoda's gates. It spills into the streets, where the city unfolds like a treasure chest brimming with contrasts. Beyond Shwedagon's glow, colonial relics stand as weathered sentinels of a bygone era, grand Victorian facades with peeling paint and moss-cloaked shutters, remnants of British rule that whisper tales of tea houses and steamer ships. I wandered down Pansodon Street one afternoon, the air thick with the tang of diesel and the sizzle of street-side fritters, past buildings whose faded elegance hinted at a time when Yangon was the garden city of the East. A rickshaw driver named So pedaled by, offering me a ride with a grin. "See the old days with me." I declined but followed his path, ducking into the shadow of the Secretariat building, its red brick sprawl a silent testament to history's ebb and flow. The markets are where Yangon truly comes alive, a riot of color, sound, and life that hits you like a wave. Bagyok Ong Saung Market buzzed with vendors hawking jade, trinkets, and bolts of silk, their voices rising in a cheerful cacophony as I haggled for a carved wooden elephant, its trunk raised in luck. "Good price for a good traveler," the seller, a woman named Lei, laughed, tossing in a handful of roasted peanuts as a bonus. Nearby, street stalls lined the lanes, their woks spitting oil as they fried golden samosas and skewered fish, the smoky aroma mingling with the sweet tang of sugarcane juice squeezed fresh by a boy no older than 10. I sipped a glass, the cool sweetness cutting through the humidity, and watched the city pulse around me. Motorbikes weaving through crowds, monks collecting alms, and kids chasing each other with makeshift kites. Then there are the lakes, Kandagi and Inle, mirrors to Yangon's chaos, their still waters reflecting the golden spires and a sprawl of modern rooftops. I strolled along Kandagi's wooden boardwalk one evening, the lake's surface rippling with the last light of day, a Kerouac barge drifting silently like a mythical bird from a Burmese tale. The air was soft, laced with the scent of lotus blooms, and for a moment, the city's clamor faded into a gentle hum. It's this blend, sacred and secular, old and new, loud and quiet, that makes Yangon a feast for every sense. A place where you can taste the spice of its streets, hear the heartbeat of its people, and see the golden glow that ties it all together. Yangon in 2025 is a city that doesn't just sparkle, it radiates, pulling you into its orbit with a warmth and vibrancy that's impossible to resist. From the candlelit reverence of Schwedigan to the colonial echoes and market frenzy, it's a sensory overload wrapped in a golden embrace, a place where every corner hums with life and every encounter, like NWE's Quiet Faith, leaves a mark on your heart. This is Yangon, chaotic, sacred, and utterly alive, a golden glow that beckons you to lose yourself in its light. Mandalay's timeless reverie, whispers of kings along the Irrawaddy. Mandalay isn't just a city, it's a portal to a regal past, a place where the echoes of Myanmar's last kings linger in the air like a half-remembered song. In 2025, this northern gem stands as a royal throwback, its streets and rivers steeped in the grandeur of the Konbong dynasty, whose palaces and dreams once shaped a golden age. Here, the Irrawaddy River flows like a lifeline through history, its muddy waters carrying tales of conquest and collapse, while the city's horizons are dotted with relics that hum with the weight of centuries. Mandalay is a living chronicle, a blend of faded splendor and vibrant life, where every corner invites you to step back into a world of monarchs and mystique. One sun-drenched morning, I climbed aboard a weathered wooden boat, its engine chugging as we set off up the Irrawaddy toward Mingun, a village just 11 kilometers north that feels like a step into a forgotten realm. The river stretched wide and restless before us, its banks lined with emerald rice paddies and the occasional glint of a fisherman's net, the air thick with the earthy scent of silt and the distant call of waterbirds. As we docked, Mingun's centerpiece loomed into view, the Patadagi Pagoda, an unfinished titan of brick and ambition, its massive base rising 50 meters like a giant's dream, abandoned mid-slumber. King Badapaya began this behemoth in 1790, aiming for the heavens, but fate, or prophecy, halted it after his death, leaving a cracked, colossal ruin that's as haunting as it is majestic. I ran my hand along its weathered surface, feeling the grooves of time, and imagine the armies of laborers who once toiled here, their sweat mingling with the river's flow. Nearby, the Mingun bell awaited, a bronze colossus weighing 90 tons, the second largest ringing bell in the world, its surface etched with the patina of ages. I met Zaw, a wiry bell ringer with a grin as wide as the river itself, who handed me a wooden mallet and urged me to strike. "Go on, wake it up," he laughed, stepping back as I swung. The clang erupted, a deep, resonant boom that rolled through the air like thunder, vibrating in my chest and shaking the ground beneath my feet. The sound lingered, rich and mournful, as if the bell were singing of the kings who'd ordered its forging, their voices trapped in its bronze heart. Zaw clapped me on the shoulder, delighted. "You've got a strong arm. Maybe you're a king too," he teased, and for a moment, I felt the weight of that lost royalty settle over me. The journey didn't end there. Another boat ride took me to Ava, or Ngwe, an ancient capital just south of Mandalay, where the ghosts of fallen dynasties whisper through crumbling walls and tangled vines. Once a seat of power from the 14th to 19th centuries, Ava now lies in quiet ruin, its glory overtaken by time and nature. I wandered its dusty paths as ox carts rattled past, their wooden wheels creaking a slow rhythm, driven by farmers whose weathered faces seemed to carry the same stoic endurance as the land. The Bagan monastery stood like a relic of teak and memory, its dark pillars rising from the earth, while the leaning tower of Ava, a remnant of a royal watchtower, tilted defiantly against the sky. I climbed its steps, the stone cool and worn, and gazed out over a sea of green, punctuated by stupas, silent sentinels of a kingdom that once rivaled empires. A local boy, Ko Min, trailed me with a shy smile, pointing out a hidden carving of an elephant on a broken wall. "My grandfather says the kings rode them," he said, his voice a soft echo of pride. Here's the exciting news for 2025. The river comes alive again with the return of cruises like Amida and Ananda, offering journeys that weave history into the scenery. After a hiatus, these elegant boats are back, promising trips from Mandalay to Yangon, Ava, and beyond. Think sunset sails past golden pagodas, overnight voyages under a canopy of stars, the Irrawaddy unfurling its secrets with every bend. I can already picture it. Sipping tea on deck as the water glows orange, the silhouette of Mingun's pagoda fading into dusk, or waking to the gentle rock of the boat as Ava's ruins emerge from the morning mist. It's a chance to drift through Mandalay's ancient echoes, where the past isn't just seen, it's felt, heard, and tasted in the breeze off the river. Mandalay in 2025 is a tapestry of royal whispers and rustic charm, a place where the Irrawaddy carries you into a world of unfinished dreams and ringing legacies. From striking the Mingun bell with Za to tracing Ava's faded glory, it's a journey that wraps you in the mystique of lost kings and the quiet beauty of their realm. This isn't just a destination, it's a reverie, a chance to stand where history hums and the river sings, pulling you into Mandalay's timeless embrace with every ancient echo. Irrawaddy River Cruises, drifting through Myanmar's soul in 2025. The Irrawaddy River isn't just a waterway, it's the pulsing artery of Myanmar, a ribbon of life that winds through the heart of the nation, carrying stories of ancient kingdoms, bustling villages, and timeless landscapes on its muddy currents. In 2025, this mighty river reclaims its spotlight with the triumphant return of cruises, offering travelers a chance to glide along its storied banks in ways that blend serenity with splendor. Picture sunset sails in Bagan, where the sky ignites in a blaze of gold, or overnight voyages stretching from the temple-dotted plains to the royal echoes of Mandalay. This isn't just a boat ride. It's a slow, stunning drift through the very backbone of Myanmar, a journey that lets you feel the rhythm of a land shaped by its waters. I stepped aboard one such sunset cruise in Bagan years ago, the memory still vivid enough to taste the cool river breeze on my lips. The boat, a graceful wooden vessel with a low hum of its engine, pushed off from the shore as the sun began its descent, casting a molten glow across the Irrawaddy surface. The water turned into a mirror of fire, hues of amber, crimson, and gold rippling with every gentle wave, reflecting the silhouettes of ancient pagodas that lined the horizon like guardians of a forgotten age. As we glided past emerald rice paddies and clumps of swaying bamboo, a monk stood near the bank, his saffron robes catching the last light as his low, resonant chant floated over the water, a haunting melody that wove itself into the evening stillness. It was as if the river itself paused to listen, its currents slowing to honor the moment. The captain, a weathered man named Tun with eyes that crinkled like the river's edges, steered us with a steady hand, his voice cutting through the quiet. "This is our lifeline," he said, nodding toward the endless stretch of water and the fields it nourished. Everything where comes from her rice, fish, trade, stories. His words sank in as we passed a fisherman casting his net, the arc of it flaring out like a silver wing against the twilight, and a cluster of children splashing at the shore, their laughter rising like bubbles to the surface. The Irrawaddy wasn't just a backdrop, it was the thread tying Myanmar together, a lifeline pulsing with the daily lives of those who depend on it, from the farmers tending its banks to the traders ferrying goods in narrow canoes. In 2025, the river's magic comes alive anew with these revived cruises, sunset jaunts in Bagan that paint the evening in unforgettable hues, and overnight trips to Mandalay that cradle you under a canopy of stars. I can imagine settling into one now, the deck creaking softly beneath my feet as we drift past the golden spires of Bagan's temples, their tips piercing the dusk, then waking at dawn to the gentle rock of the boat as Mandalay's hills emerge from mist. The overnight voyages promise more, a night spent tracing the river's bends, the sky a vast dome of constellations mirrored in the dark water below, the air alive with the faint croak of frogs and the rustle of riverside reeds. It's a slow unfurling of Myanmar's essence, each mile revealing a new facet of its beauty. Here is stilted village glowing with lantern light. There a heron lifting off in silent flight. This isn't travel at a breakneck pace. It's a deliberate, soul-stirring journey that lets you see Myanmar's backbone in all its glory. The Irrawaddy carries you through a landscape where time feels fluid, where the past and present flow together as seamlessly as the river itself. That sunset sail with Tun and the monk's chant lingers in me still. The golden water, the sacred sound, the captain's quiet pride, a memory that captures the river's power to connect and captivate. In 2025, these cruises offer more than a ride. They're an invitation to drift into Myanmar's heart, to let its lifelines sweep you into a world of stunning vistas and timeless tales, one serene wave at a time. Travel styles for Myanmar in 2025. Myanmar in 2025 is a playground for every type of traveler, whether you're a luxury seeker or a dirt-under-your-nails adventurer. Let me break it down for you with some insider flair because I've been there boots on the ground and I've got stories to share. Private tours, your VIP pass to Myanmar. Want someone to roll out the red carpet while keeping it safe and seamless? Private tours are your golden key. A guide sorts out permits, plans your route, and sprinkles in magic you'd never find solo. Picture this. I was cruising with my driver, so a wiry guy with a grin that could light up Yangon. Out of nowhere, he swerved off the highway toward a village festival. Drums pounding, kids dancing, just because he knew I'd eat it up. "You're one of us now," he said, handing me a coconut. It's not just safe, it's personal. Plus, at around $50 to $70 a day with a guiding car, it's often cheaper than fumbling through logistics yourself. Trust me, I've tried both. This wins. Adventure seekers, unleash your wild side. If your heart beats for the untamed, Myanmar's got you covered. Trek through HPN's jagged limestone caves, kayak Dawei's mangrove-choked coastlines, or barter with hill tribe elders in Loika. I hiked HPN once with Min, a local guide who'd grown up dodging bats in those very caves. Slept here as a kid. Terrified me. He laughed, pointing to a cavern dripping with stalactites. Now it's my favorite spot. We stood there, bats swooping overhead, and I swear it felt like Indiana Jones territory. These adventures aren't just thrills. They're a dive into Myanmar's raw, beating heart. Pro tip: pack sturdy boots and a sense of wonder. Responsible travel. Leave a mark, not a mess. Love travel with soul? Myanmar lets you give back while you explore. Volunteer with grassroots crews. Teach English in Kalaw's misty hills or plant trees by Inle Lake's shimmering shores. I spent a day at a Kalaw school, my terrible Burmese sparking giggles from a gaggle of kids. "You sound like a buffalo," one teased, shoving a ripe mango into my hands. That mango? Best I've ever tasted. It's not just feel-good fluff. It roots you deeper into this resilient land. Look up groups like Inle Heritage or Kalaw Trust for legit gigs. You'll leave richer than you came. Styles to skip. Know before you go. Not every vibe flies in 2025. Live streamers and drone junkies? Tough luck. The government's got a chokehold on broadcasts, and I've seen drones confiscated at Yangon airport. Overland caravans from India to Thailand? Dreams on hold. Security's tightened the borders, though shipping your bike to Yangon's still an option. I met a German guy who did it for $300. Solo travel? Possible, but dicey with military checkpoints popping up. I went solo once and got stuck explaining my camera to a stern officer. Group up, save the stress. Myanmar visa policy in 2025. Planning your Myanmar escape? The visa game's a breeze in 2025. Here's the lowdown from someone who's navigated it. No more $50 insurance nonsense. They've scrapped that rule, so your wallet breathes easier. The e-visa is your ticket. $50 online, 28 days to Rome, valid at Yangon, Mandalay, or Nay Pai Ta airports. You'll need booked flights and hotels. I use Agoda for proof, but approval's lightning fast, 1 to 3 days. I applied once on a whim, and 48 hours later, I was sipping tea in Yangon's chaos. Visa stamped, no hiccups. Got questions? Ping support at myanmarvisa.org. They're shockingly responsive. It's smooth, stress-free, and screams, pack your bags already. Flights to Myanmar in 2025. Flying into this gem? Here's the real talk. Direct flights are slim. Hanoi, Singapore, Bangkok, and Kuala Lumpur are your hubs. Coming from farther? Layovers are your fate. I snagged a Bangkok stopover once and gorged on $2 pad thai, a street stall, worth the detour. Book early, though. Seats vanish like hotcakes, and prices spike if you dawdle. Check advisories too. Routes shift with politics. I use Skyscanner and cross-check with Flight Radar 24 to dodge surprises. Cost of traveling Myanmar in 2025. Inflation's kicked Myanmar in the teeth by 2025, and costs are flexing. Since October 2024, airlines switched to Myanmar Chat, MMK, doubling some fares overnight. Petrol, gas, and power hikes pile on. A solid day meals, travel, 3-star digs, and tickets now runs $90 to $100, up from $70. I budgeted $95 in Yangon last trip. Slurped mohinga for $2, gawked at Schwedigan for $8, and crashed at a cozy guest house for $30. Pricey? Sure, worth it. Every damn penny. Haggle markets and eat local to stretch your cash. I've scored $1 noodle bowls that beat any Michelin star. Domestic flights in Myanmar. Hopscotching around? Domestic flights are your lifeline, but they're pricier in MMK now. Online schedules lag. I've seen ghost flights listed, so lean on local pros. My guide, Tun, booked me Yangon to Bagan for $120, seamless as silk. Tour packages bundling flights are gold. Less hassle, more temple gazing. I flew with Myanmar National Airlines once. Bumpy, but on time. Money matters in Myanmar. Cash rules here, but it's a circus. Exchange rates wobble like a drunk. Swap in Yangon or Mandalay for decent rates. Black market's riskier. I traded $100 at a Mandalay bank, the teller barking, no rips, no deal. Chris bills only, folks. Cards? Big hotels might swipe, but don't bet on it. Carry cash, under $10,000 to dodge customs, and guard it like treasure. SIM cards in Myanmar. Need to stay connected? MPT or Midal SIMs run $5 to $7. Flash your passport, skip airport ripoffs. I grabbed one in Mandalay's bustle, texting home as I dodge scooters. Cities hum with 4G, hills drop to shaky 2G, fine for maps and memes. Cash withdrawals in Myanmar. ATMs? A cruel joke. $80 max, outages galore, and fees that sting. I wrestled a Yangon machine for 20 minutes once, cursing as it finally coughed up cash. Next time, I'm hauling crisp USD. New bills, no tears. Online payments? A fantasy. Stock up and stash smart. There you go. Myanmar 2025, unfiltered and irresistible. Ready to dive in? Final thoughts. Your 2025 Myanmar Odyssey. Myanmar in 2025 isn't just a destination. It's a tale you'll spin at every dinner table for years to come. Picture this. Safe havens like Bagan's ancient plains and Inle Lake's tranquil waters calling you with open arms. Fewer tourists crowding your view, and locals who greet you like long-lost family. From the crashing waves of Ngwe Beach to the mystical heights of Mount Popa, every step pulses with a vibrancy that's impossible to fake. Sure, costs have climbed a bit, and you'll need to finesse the logistics. Think cash stashes and early bookings, but the reward? Oh, it's worth it. You're signing up for an odyssey through a land that's unpolished yet unbreakable, scarred yet stunning, where every golden pagoda and every fisherman's smile etches itself into your soul. So pack your curiosity, map it out with care, and plunge into Myanmar's spellbinding embrace. It's ready to claim your heart and never let go.